Mr. Scott,
Hey,
I'm Megan Coppage.
nice to meet you.
Thanks so much for coming in today. I'm going to be working with you today. I was looking at your chart before you came in here and I saw that you've been going through a rough time recently. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that our work today can be helpful for you so that you can improve the quality of your life, and I'm glad that you came in to do that today. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to take some time to understand better what led you to feeling like ending your life. Do you think that you could maybe take me back to that night and explain to me what was really going on for you?
Yeah, so I guess about a week ago, I lost my job. I worked in sales at a paper company, and it wasn't, like a flashy job, but I've done it for years. I enjoy the work, and with the current economy and everything, they had to let some people go, and I was one of the first. So I guess since then, I've just kind of been depressed or down or whatever. So then the other night I was having trouble sleeping, and I was just laying in bed and kind of depressed, and was thinking about how I don't have a job and how I don't have a wife or kids, and just kind of feeling down. And I ended up having to get out of the situation, and I ended up going to the hospital.
Right. Wow. Well, I'm so sorry that you've been going through that, and I hope that this time will be valuable for you, because what can happen in those kind of situations is that we can feel like we don't have any control, right? It can feel like it comes on suddenly, and
Right.
there was nothing we could do to prepare for that. But we want to really try to take back that control today, so that the next time that you enter a situation of a potential crisis, we just want to be prepared. Because we know that when you went into the hospital and you came out, it's not like your problems went away, right? You still are, I assume, without a job. It's only been a few days.
Yeah.
So there's likely going to be other stressful things like that might crop up again. That's kind of normal after coming out of the hospital after something like you've been through. But like when you were in the Army, I'm sure that you were always taught to be mission ready, and you always were preparing for the worst case scenario. And that's what we want to do today. We want to prepare you for the next time this might happen. We don't want to pretend like this may never happen again, and it could happen again, right? So we just want to be prepared. So we want to understand that how you got to this point, and how to help you next time you face a similar trigger. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, great. So can you walk me back to that night, and just like I was there, like let's just pretend like I was there with you. Just explain to me what happened that night. Walk me through it.
So like I mentioned, I couldn't sleep very well. I was lying in bed, and I guess leading up to the moment, I just was thinking about how I don't have a job right now, and how, kind of hopelessness that it's not going to happen, like nothing's going to change. And then, kind of the feelings that go along with that, like worthlessness, or, I don't have immediate family to kind of turn to, so I just kind of felt like, what's the point? And those thoughts just kind of were replaying in my head. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and then I was thinking about shooting myself. And I have a gun that I keep in the closet in my bedroom, and so I guess I just kept kind of visualizing going and getting a gun and then shooting myself. And then I guess I got to the point where it just kind of freaked me out that I was thinking that. And so that's when I just knew I needed to get in the car and go. So I ended up driving off, and I ended up going to the hospital because because I wasn't sure like what else to do. So
Right, absolutely. So, you said you thought a lot about using a gun. Did you ever have the gun in hand during that time?
no, I never actually got the gun, but I was just kind of visualizing getting it and exactly what would happen, what I would do, what it would look like. So
Okay.
it's kind of what I was stuck on, I guess.
Mr. Scott, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know that that's not easy to do at all, but I hope that what we do going forward today will help you overall. Okay.
Yeah.
So now what I'd like to do is share with you a suicide risk curve. Okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this. So this is the suicidal risk curve, and as you can see, what it does is it shows that suicidal thoughts come and go and often passes after some time has gone by. So you start here with a warning sign or a trigger that escalates into a crisis where you feel suicidal, like giving up. But later, you might experience some relief or some ambivalence about dying. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in your situation, your trigger was losing your job, coupled with thoughts about things never getting better, in a sense of hopelessness about your situation, which escalated into you looking for a solution to your problem. And you decided on suicide. But after a few minutes, you started to have some doubts about that and some fear about dying. So you decided to take yourself to the hospital. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So let's take just a minute to write down what we just talked about so that you can have it, so that you can see what was going on. Because usually what happens is we feel like we don't have any control in these situations. But hopefully this shows that there is a progression, so that if we can be aware of our warning signs and intervene early, we can prevent some of this escalation from happening. And that's what we're going to do, work on a plan after this, okay? So let's go ahead and put the things down that we had already talked about. I know that you said one warning sign was insomnia. You weren't sleeping. That kind of made things a lot worse, you had said.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what were one of the thoughts that you had thought about that really, was escalating things?
So I guess, like we had said, hopelessness, just feeling like things aren't going to change, that things aren't going to get better, that I'm not going to be able to, get a job.
Okay, so things aren't going to get better, and then, anything, so, and then a sense of, and that goes along with the sense of hopelessness. What was your thought when you felt hopeless?
I mean, I guess just in the moment I felt like hopeless, that life wasn't really worth living because, like I said, I don't have like a wife or kids or anything like that. So I'm kind of, hopeless, worthless.
So
things
life
like that.
isn't worth living.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is sort of what happened in the very beginning, and then as those thoughts and sleeplessness started really wearing on you, ramping up things, you started to feel suicidal, and that's when you had the thought of ending your life with a gun, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And then afterwards, what was it specifically? You said that you had some fear. Is that right?
I guess when I got to that point and I was thinking through shooting myself, it freaked me out. So I did have a point where I just felt, freaked out or scared about what I had been seeing in my mind. So yeah.
Okay. So fear of dying, we'll put that here. That was when you started to have some ambivalence about dying and went to the hospital to get help. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see, hopefully, that there was a progression here that happened, but after some time passed, those thoughts started to subside. So crises can come and they can go as well if you just give things some time. So okay, well, now we're going to move into working on creating a safety plan together. Have you ever heard of that before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, here's the safety plan that I'll put it in the chart, but then I'm also going to let you take this home so that you can have that, because we want this to be a living document. We don't want this to just be another piece of paper that you shove in a drawer and never use again. We really want it to be something that's helpful for you.
Okay.
So a safety plan is going to help us to not act on our suicidal feelings and thoughts, kind of thinking back to this risk curve. We need to give our thoughts and feelings time to subside before we escalate into a crisis. So that's what the safety plan is all about, is being aware of what our warning signs are when we enter a crisis so that it doesn't escalate. So this warning sign, step 1, is the most important part of the safety plan. And we'll fill that out in just a second together, but I do want to emphasize to you that this is a collaborative process. I really want this to be something that's useful for you, that really you can use going forward after you leave here. So please, just put your input in wherever you'd like. I'm going to ask a lot of questions about barriers after every step, but I want to do that so that we can make sure that this is something that really is going to be useful for you. And if there's any problems, we want to solve those on the front end, right? Because we're trying to be proactive. Okay. Now, like I said, this warning signs in step 1 is the most important part of our safety plan, because this is going to trigger you to activate your safety plan and start using some of the coping skills and other steps that we're going to discuss in detail. So we've talked quite a lot about our warning signs that you had in that situation already, and we know that one of them that we'll put down was insomnia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we have the thoughts that you had. We're going to get real specific with them. And you had said things aren't going to get better. That was a really strong thought that you had, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Things aren't going to get better. Okay. What was another thought that you had that we talked about?
I guess just the overall thought that, I don't have a job, I'm kind of worthless, life's not worth living.
Okay. So we should say that was the hot thought right there. Life isn't worth living.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll put that down. Life isn't worth living. And I'm going to put this in your words, because we want to put down what your mind is actually telling you in these situations. So insomnia, things aren't going to get better. Life isn't worth living. Does that sound about right? Anything else?
Yeah. No, I think that covered kind of the moment.
Okay, great. So now we'll move on to step 2, which are going to be it's internal coping strategies. So what we're really looking at here are things that you can do when you have activated your safety plan. You're maybe not sleeping, you're starting to have those thoughts come up again, like life isn't worth living. What are some things that you could do that maybe have worked in the past just to distract you? We're not trying to fix any of these problems right now. We're just trying to give some time to distract yourself from these thoughts. What are some things that maybe you've done in the past that have helped you to feel a little bit better, even if for just a few minutes?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I really like watching those fail videos on YouTube, where people just I don't know, fall down or do stupid stuff.
Yeah,
and that always kind of makes me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Also like listening to music.
Okay, so let's so maybe should we put the fail videos on here?
Yeah.
Okay, so watching fail videos
on YouTube.
Okay, fail videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and then you said something about music. You like listening to music?
Mm-hmm.
Does music kind of get you in a good mood sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I can connect with music, and I think that brings out different emotions and things depending on what type of music it is.
Right, absolutely, because we do have to be careful when we say listen to music, because sometimes music can make us feel good if it's upbeat, it's kind of a positive message. But on the flip side, if it's something that's really depressing, it can actually pull us down further into our emotions that we're trying to avoid. So what kind of music would you say, let's try to be real specific about it, what kind of music do you think makes you feel the best? Like, it really helps you.
I mean, I like upbeat music, and I mean, I kind of like Justin Bieber.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
he's got a couple songs that I really like right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to put Justin Bieber down? Okay.
Yeah.
How would you listen to this music?
I mean, just through my phone. I usually either play like the music video through YouTube, or I might play it through an app that I have.
Okay, what kind of app is it? What's it called?
It's called Spotify.
Okay. So we could say listen to Justin Bieber on Spotify or YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And anything else that you could think of off the top of your head?
And this is to distract me.
This is just to distract yourself.
I mean, I'm kind of trying to learn how to play guitar right now.
Oh, okay, that's really cool.
So, I mean, it's frustrating at times, but I mean, it's something that, I've been able to do that takes my mind off things.
Okay. So, would you say that you enjoy it more than it's frustrating for the most part?
Yeah, and I mean, I know that eventually, if I'm able to play, then it'll be really rewarding when I get to that point. So.
Okay, great. And how are you practicing this guitar playing?
I mean, usually I just have like an app
Okay.
that I use to that kind of helps me walk through different steps and learn how to play it like that.
Well, that's really interesting. Yeah, I like that. So we could put on here practice playing guitar with app. Would that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any barriers to any of these things that we've listed? Like, things that might make these things hard to do, or do you feel like?
I mean, for the most part, no. I mean, as long as I have my phone on me and it's charged, I don't think that there are barriers per se.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah. These seem like pretty manageable things. Okay. So we're gonna move on to step 3.
Okay.
These are people and social settings that provide distraction. So again, we're not trying to call people at this point to tell them you're in crisis just yet, right? Hopefully this will help, because I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but sometimes just talking to someone else about even how they're doing or sports or what's happening in their lives can kind of distract us from our own stuff. Have you ever felt like that before?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay. So is there anybody that you feel like you could call or go visit who might actually be a good distraction for you?
Yeah, I have a friend. Her name is Pam.
Okay.
And we've been friends for a really long time, and we just kind of keep up with each other.
Okay. Okay. Good. And what would you mind sharing her phone number just so that we can have it down here?
Yeah, it's 205
Mm-hmm.
222
Mm-hmm.
3344.
Okay. Besides Pam, do you have anybody else that you would reach out to?
My best friend, his name's Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Ryan.
reach out to him.
Well, what's his number? Would you mind sharing that?
Yeah, it's 205 555 6677.
Okay. So, are there any barriers to contacting either Pam or Ryan?
I mean, I guess the only barrier is that, like Ryan, he recently started dating someone.
Okay.
And so, whereas in the past, if I called him or texted him, I would get an immediate response. Now, sometimes, it might take him a day or so to get back to me, and I know it's because he's, with his girlfriend, which I understand.
Mhm.
But so he's not always, immediately available.
Okay. Well, that's good to bring up, right? Because we want to just kind of think about this ahead of time, because if you're in the moment of being lost in your thoughts about life isn't worth living, and then you try to call Pam or Ryan and they're not there, or they can't speak to you, that can feel frustrating, right? So is there a place, let's say they don't answer, is there a place maybe that you could go that might provide some distraction, kind of help calm you down maybe?
I like going to Starbucks.
Okay. Okay.
Coffee shops.
Okay. So Starbucks, is it kind of close to where you live?
Yeah, there's one down the street from where I live.
Okay.
It's not too far away.
So we'll put Starbucks, and I guess with COVID, things have been a little bit different. I guess now maybe they're allowing you to go in person.
They're allowing people to come in. You have to
Okay.
wear a mask and everything. But
Sure. Okay.
They're open to that.
Okay. So you could still go in. That's good. So what about barriers for Starbucks?
They close.
Mhm.
Their
of course.
hours are during the day, so they're not open
Okay.
all night.
So let's put that Starbucks during the day. Now let's say it's at night, and Pam and Ryan don't answer. Starbucks isn't open. Is there one more place or that you could go, even nearby your house?
Yeah, there is a park
Okay.
that has a walking trail.
Uh-huh.
That
Is it lit?
Yeah, it's lit.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I think that I could do that at any time of day.
Okay. Do you see yourself doing that? Do you see yourself actually being able to drive over there if you were thinking some of these things?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think that would be a problem.
Okay. So we're gonna put go to walking trail. Okay. So we have Pam, we have Ryan, we have Starbucks during the day, walking trails lit, so you could go there at any point during the day or night if you really needed to.
Mhm.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're ready to move on to step 4?
Mhm.
Okay, so step 4 is going to be when, let's say you've tried step 2 and step 3. You may have tried to watch some Phil videos. You've maybe even reached Pam or Ryan, and those thoughts just keep nagging at you. You keep thinking about suicide, and it's getting to the point where looking at the risk curve, it's elevated. You're really struggling at this point, and you've tried to minimize the struggle, but it's just, it doesn't always work sometimes. So now, is there anyone that you feel you could trust to call and say, hey, I need some help. I'm really struggling with some suicidal thoughts right now. Anybody that you trust to share that with?
I think that if it really came down to it, I would probably be most comfortable talking to my friend Ryan.
Okay.
I think that he would probably be the easiest to talk to.
Okay. And so you could imagine having a conversation where you tell him that you're suicidal.
Yeah, I don't think it would be easy, but I think that would be the most likely person that I would feel most comfortable with talking to about,
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
Okay, so we'll put Ryan down, and then I'm going to put his number over here that we recorded earlier. Now, we already kind of talked about some barriers with Ryan before because he kind of has his girlfriend and can be kind of busy sometimes. So, is there anybody else?
Honestly, not really.
Okay.
I can't think of anyone that I would feel comfortable talking to about that.
Yeah, and that's okay, and that's understandable, and a lot of people feel that way. It's not comfortable, right, to talk to somebody about that. So, one option that is always available is the Veterans Crisis Line. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. Are you familiar?
No, I've not heard of that before.
Okay, so it's actually listed down here in step 5. But what it is, it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, holidays, everything, crisis line that's available that is staffed by trained therapists who are there to answer the phone call to help you in the event of a crisis, or even, let's just say, you're struggling, you can't sleep, you have a lot on your mind, you really want to talk to somebody, but it's the middle of the night. You can call the crisis line and talk to someone. And a lot of people kind of feel a lot of reservation to call the crisis line because there's that fear that if I call them, they're going to just, as soon as I say I'm suicidal, they're going to try to shove me into the hospital. And I'd like to clarify for veterans that the only time that's going to happen where they're going to really try to encourage you to go to the hospital is when you are having suicidal thoughts and also have a plan to harm yourself with that intent to act on that plan, because we want to maintain your safety, okay? So otherwise, they're going to try to just help you by giving you some of this distraction that we're talking about, help you process things, give it time to diminish. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so just know that if Ryan is not available, you can always reach out to the crisis line. And in step 5, these are professionals or agencies that you could contact during a crisis. Okay. Is there anybody that you have a relationship with who would be able to respond properly in a crisis?
No, I don't have professionals that I'm aware of that I can call.
Okay, that's fine. So one thing we can do is I would be happy to be on your safety plan. I want to just make sure you know that there's some barriers for me being on the safety plan, right? Obviously, because I don't work 24/7, so my hours are actually 7 to 3:30. So I'm going to put that on here just so that you can kind of remember. And I'm also going to put my work cell phone down here. Now, I will say, we have to problem solve here. So if I'm meeting with someone or I'm on the phone, I may not obviously be able to answer that phone call that you give. But I want to really encourage you that if that happens, that the backup is going to be to call the crisis line, okay?
Okay.
If there's a hospital that you can think of that you would like to go to, if none of these steps really work and you are feeling like you really want to act on your suicidal thoughts, is there a hospital in mind?
I could come here, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, I live in Birmingham, so I could come here.
So we're going to put that here, the Birmingham VA, and I'm going to include the address on here just in case. We want to make sure we have every I dotted and T crossed on here. And of course, if you call the crisis line and you're still feeling like you want to act on your plan, they could call an ambulance out to your home if you'd like, or they can even call the hospital to let them know that you're on the way if you want to drive yourself over or you need someone else to drive you, okay? So now we're going to move to making the environment safe. And I bet you can probably already imagine what I'm going to talk to you about. And I just want to preface what I'm about to tell you by saying that right now is a very important time for you where statistically the risk can be elevated that you might possibly act on your thoughts again, or end up in the same kind of situation, because like we talked about, like going to the hospital doesn't get rid of our problems, so we just have to be real about that. So you could end up in a situation where you need to use your safety plan again. So being mission ready and planning for the worst case scenario, we just really have to look at the fact that what you were looking at using was your gun, right? And how many guns do you have?
I just have the one.
The one gun?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have to look at the reality, which is that was what you were choosing to use, which is the most lethal means of ending your life. And so we want to do what we can so that if you have another situation of crisis, that gun isn't as readily available, so that we can continue working together and that we can get you through this crisis. Because what we see is that crises, they come and go, you know, but we have to just be able to look at kind of the what's happened along the way. Okay, so a lot of veterans kind of feel nervous about this step because, you know, the first line of defense is trying to get your gun to someone that you trust, to just let them have it for just a little while. It's not forever. This is just until your crisis situation subsides and you've gotten out of this situation where you're struggling with the job and all of that stress. Is that something that you feel like you would consider at all doing?
I'd rather not. I actually feel like I need my gun for just like safety reasons.
Okay, and that's absolutely understandable. We do hear that quite a lot. I want to make sure to point out the options, but we have a lot of other options, okay, that don't mean you have to actually part with your gun. So there are lock boxes and things that you could purchase. We also have cable locks available for free here, and that's something that I could provide to you at the end of session if that would be something you'd be willing to do. Would you be willing to put a lock on your gun?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. And of course it comes with a key. So what we want to try to do is give time and space between you and your access to the gun. And research shows that even separating the key from the gun that's locked, just having to go get the key and then go to the gun and unlock it, sometimes even those seconds or minutes can really cut down on your risk of using it, because we just need that time, right, to kind of pass sometimes. So is there a place you think that you'd be willing to put the key separate from the gun?
I keep my gun in the closet, so I guess I could put the key in like my bedside table or something like that.
Okay, that's a good idea. And your gun where in your house?
Well, in the closet
In
my bedroom.
In your bedroom?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like you need to keep it there in your bedroom closet?
Yeah, because if there was an emergency and I needed to get it, I feel like I would need to be able to like jump up and get it pretty quickly.
Okay, sure. So what if we add that here, that we'll put cable lock on gun and store the key in bedside table? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have access to a lot of medication or old medication or
No,
anything
I don't.
like that?
No.
Any access to opioids at all?
No.
No. Okay. Did you have a plan B? Was there anything you ever considered besides shooting yourself?
No, that was really the only thing that I ever like really thought about.
Okay. All right. So we've agreed that what would be best and what you're willing to do is to put a cable lock on your gun and store the key in your bedside table. Is that something that maybe we could check in together about? Maybe, let's say tomorrow we could just check in about that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Check in tomorrow. Okay. Great. So do you feel okay about that plan?
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I feel okay with that.
That feels okay to you. Okay, good. So I just want to go back over briefly just what we've created together here, and just to emphasize that if one of these steps doesn't work to help relieve your crisis and your feelings, then you can always go to calling the crisis line or calling someone that's going to help you, like Ryan, for example, to get you the help that you need, or go to the nearest emergency room or call 911, of course. And of course, if the crisis subsides after you watching fail videos, for example, you don't have to proceed to the rest of the plan, because the point is just to try to, like the curve, we just want to diminish those thoughts. So once you feel like you're not thinking about suicide anymore after doing some of these things, you don't have to continue using these steps unless you want to use them. So one thing that we really want to talk about is, this safety plan is only as good as it is useful to you. So if this gets shoved into a drawer or crumpled up in the back of your car, it's not really going to be helpful. So where's somewhere that you could put the safety plan that you would actually have it close to you?
I don't think I would necessarily want to put it like on the refrigerator or something in case I have people come over, but I mean, I think I could put it in like my bedside drawer, because that is easily accessible, and I don't think I could put it there without it getting crumpled up. So.
Okay, great. Your bedside table. Oh, and that was where you were going to put your key for your gun lock as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. That might be actually good, right?
Yeah, I could put them together or even tape it to the back of the safety plan.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we could put that on here too. Tape the key to the back of safety plan. Yeah. Great. So we want to problem solve barriers here. So let's say that you just happen to not be at home when you need your safety plan. Then some veterans like to do a couple different things that are just some ideas that might help, like taking a picture on your phone of your safety plan, because everybody usually has their phone on them, so that way if you're wherever you are, you can pull that up. Or another option is to, of course, give you more than one copy of this so that you could put it somewhere else or there's also some apps that are located here at the bottom that you could load your safety plan onto. What do you think sounds good?
I mean, I think it would be easy to take a picture of it.
Okay.
I could do that and then keep it in my phone.
Okay. So we can do. So how about before you leave, do you want to take a picture before you leave? That way, it's just already done. Okay. Awesome. Great. So, what do you think? Just being honest, being real with me. What do you think the likelihood is of you actually using the safety plan if you start having some of these thoughts or sleepless nights where you start feeling really depressed?
I mean, I think it's high that I would use the safety plan. I mean, a lot of it is stuff that I would do, anyway, because I like some of that stuff, all that stuff. So, so yeah, I think it's a high percentage chance that I would use that if I needed it.
Okay. Is there anyone that you think of in your life that you could share this safety plan with, just to kind of have someone else on board as a team to make sure that you're utilizing it?
I don't know if I would feel comfortable sharing that right now. Maybe in time I could talk to my friend Ryan about that, but I don't know if I would necessarily want to do it right now.
Okay, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And we said down here that I was going to check in with you tomorrow. Would 10 o'clock be okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I can be that person for now, who can just, as we're working together, we'll come back to this again, as we go through our sessions and just, maybe the next time if you have another sleepless night and you're experiencing these thoughts, we'll kind of look back to, were you able to use your safety plan? Were there any problems, anything we need to fix? Because this is not set in stone. This is a living document, so we can change it, tweak it, make it as effective as we can so that it can actually be something that you really use that will help you in the moment. So does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. So.
Okay, wonderful. Do you have any questions about any of this that we talked about so far?
No, I'm good. Thank you for talking to me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in today, and I'll talk to you. I'll give you a cable lock before you leave right now, and then we'll make some copies of this for you, get you to take a picture, and then I'll speak to you in the morning at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you.